Hey peeps, we are back. We're talking the Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 16, Episode 13. Hey, before we get into the video, please do me the honors of subscribing to my channel, hitting the notification bell so you can always be notified when I post new content, hitting the thumbs up because that does wonders for my channel, and share. Thanks. And today's episode is brought to you by Terry and Heather's infomercial. I'm telling you, this whole season so far has been one big infomercial for Terry and Heather Dubrow. So this episode starts out pretty much with Noella on a walk with her mom, and she's talking about how when she first met Jennifer, she was saying, "Hi, I make all the money and my husband goes around without a shirt on." I really think Noella is the wrong person to talk about somebody else in their conversations, considering that this is the same girl that went around telling everybody about a stack of vaginas. I mean, really, girl, sit on down somewhere. Speaking of Noella, I saw an interview with Vicki Gunvalson saying that for years, Noella has been trying to be a housewife. And I remember that Sweet James, when he posted his video online, he also said that for years, Noella has been doing her best to become a housewife. Vicki said that years ago, Noella had Sweet James come to her to set up an insurance policy, and they started hanging out. She said that at one point they were hanging out every weekend, and Noella really wanted to be on the show, and she said that she told Noella, "Be careful what you wish for. It destroyed my marriage with Don. It mostly destroys most marriages." And she says back to Vicki, according to this interview, "James and I are good." And Vicki says, "Yeah, right." Vicki says in her interview that then at some point, Noella met Bronwyn. She said that once she made friends with Bronwyn, she never called her again. Tamara talked about Vicki and Noella's friendship on her December 2021 episode of her podcast, Two Teas in a Pod. And she said that Noella started contacting Vicki and hanging out with Vicki, you know, flying on private jets, trying to get on the show. And she said that when Vicki wasn't able to get her on the show and then Vicki got demoted, that's when she moved on to Bronwyn. She said that she met Noella back in 2020 because Bronwyn had invited her to a dinner. She said that they sat down and there was probably about 20 people. She said maybe 10. She pulled out her phone, showed me pictures of her husband's penis. She said that at that table with all those people, the first thing Noella did was show her husband's penis. So this is the girl who has been thirsty to get on this show. Now she's on the show and she is doing her very best to make sure that she remains on the show. And she has absolutely no right to talk about Jen in her comments. I'm just saying. I also have to state that all of that is alleged. I saw that in an interview. I don't know if any of that's true, but I tend to believe Tamara and Vicki. Not to mention, Sweet James did say that on his online video that he posted. So as I said before, Heather Dubrow and Lisa Barlow are the queens of marketing. This entire season has been marketing genius by Heather and Terry. They have spent the entire season marketing all of Heather's products, her book, her daughter's book, her and Terry's podcast, her podcast, all the infomercials, the diet that they have, and now their new TV show on E called 7 Year Stitch. I mean, she's been working this. She really has. Do I blame her? Absolutely not. Because if I was ever to become a real housewife, I would come up with some kind of product. And I'm not talking about makeup or beauty supply, none of that stuff. I would come up with something and I would talk about it every single episode. I would have it decorating my home. Everybody would know the name of it, whatever it is. I'm just saying. Heather has decided that she's going to have a wrap party for the show and invite everybody over to celebrate and, of course, announce and, you know, continue the infomercial that is Heather and Terry Dubrow. This is more like the Heather and Terry show featuring some of these other ladies. You know what I mean? When Gina gets to the party, Heather tells Gina that She hadn't seen Jen in a couple of weeks since she had that awkward moment at her party. And the first thing Gina says is, well, Emily told me that they're getting an Airbnb so that her husband can stay in the Airbnb for a month. And I said, didn't I say the last video? Jen was sitting there sharing her personal business with Emily. How much do you want to bet Emily's going to share that with the other housewives? And that's exactly what she did. She ran right to Gina to tell her Jen's business. You know, I forgot to mention that Heather's party is in her house in the basement. That's one of the prettiest basements I've ever seen. I agree with Gina. Where I come from, your basement has your washer and dryer, your workout equipment, and if you have a big enough basement, maybe a huge television and a couch. I'm just saying. We do see Gina talking to Jen about this new EEG or something that she has at her office. She wants to bring her daughter in to get this brain scan because we know her daughter has been having some sensory issues. And I thought this is a really good idea, but at the same time I thought, why didn't she just contact her daughter's pediatrician and, you know, go in and get a scan? Why is she doing it at Jen's cosmetic beauty business? I don't know. But, you know, either way, I'm wishing the very best for her daughter.
You know why she was calling? Because Emily told me yesterday, like the whole time that you guys were out, she was like, we're gonna have more fun than that. She should be calling Heather to be like, how did the podcast?
I know, that's what I thought we were calling.
Now this too is just ridiculous to me with this whole more fun situation. Shannon was not acting out. She wasn't saying, we gotta have more fun than they have in New York. And what's the difference between Shannon wanting to whoop it up and have a good time versus Heather asking Gina, would you rather be back at Shannon's cooking or here with me? I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. You're trying to have more fun with Gina than Shannon's having back at her house with this cooking party. It just doesn't make sense. And I appreciate Jen saying, well, I didn't know that she was doing that. You know, that call was not Shannon's way of saying we're having a better time. And it's so weird to me because these women are all either close to 40, almost 50, or over 50. I have no idea. It's just grow the hell up. Go about your business and have a good time. Listen, Heather had to let us know that she knows Richard Marx. And not only does she know Richard Marx, he's right here at the party. And let me tell you something. I am not going to lie. I am a huge fan of Richard Marx. I absolutely love that song. And I'm not ashamed to tell you that when that song first came out, I had to cry about once or twice. That song is absolutely beautiful. It was awesome then, and it's still good now. Now, seeing him on the show, he still got it. And I could tell that he's had a few Botox appointments. But anyway, his vocal cords are still working. I mean, that was beautiful. I loved it. And seeing his wife, Daisy Fluentes, I had forgot all about that woman. It was nice to see her. Now, I'm telling you, I don't know if Heather brought him out just to show him off or if she was trying to let Dorit know, you may have Boy George, but I've got Richard Marx. I don't know.
I know Richard Marx because my dad used to play his music. No offense, Rich.
Now listen here, Gina, okay? I had to look Gina's age up. I said, girl, let me tell you, how old are you? Richard Marx, your daddy used to listen to him, but she's only 37, so I guess. Now, Gina is talking to Jen, and Jen says that her and Ryan, listen at me calling him Ryan. So anyway, her and Ryan are not going to separate for the 30 days because they had a good talk on Saturday. No, ma'am. One good talk does not settle things. To me, having a good conversation and then deciding that he's not going to move out is like putting a little Band-Aid over a gunshot wound. I don't know. I'm not married. Married people, get in the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's weird.
But he's different. He's a little different. But I like it. I'm a little different. Like come on.
I found that a little odd. You know, Gina just called this woman's husband weird to her face. And I don't know if she agrees that the man is just weird or if she just said that because she didn't want it to be an awkward moment. But I also thought it was awkward when Gina asked her, does she see herself dating somebody else? It took her a minute to answer. And she said no, but her face said, yes, I'd love to date somebody else. In my opinion, I'm just saying, I don't know. Jen lets Heather know that she's got this new scan, a new therapy at her practice, and she'd like to have a launch party for it. And she's not sure if she wants to invite Noella because of the way Noella behaved at Shannon's dinner. Now, here's the thing. Jen, the wine is really good. You acted a fool at Heather's house. You didn't even call her after that. She hadn't talked to you or seen you in 2 weeks. Now, I understand that you don't want Noella to act out, but listen, you have to remember, you showed the hell out at Heather's house. Now, Heather tells her to disinvite Noella. Listen, I really didn't care. I said, you know what? If you don't want her and her childish antics at your party, just disinvite her. Or give her a call and let her know that you don't want any of this nonsense at your party. I'm not really sure why it had to be a conversation for the group. With her being a grown woman and this being her party in her home for her business, I think she could have handled those decisions on her own. But, you know, I'm just saying, don't try to regulate Noella's behavior if you're going to act a fool. The wine is really good, at somebody else's home. Act like you have some sense. Now, Noella goes out to this dinner with her mom.
I've never been with a black man. There's so much of my dad in that. And also just going to predominantly white schools. Yeah. I never saw a black guy.
My father was a weatherman for NBC News in Los Angeles. When I was born, I lived with my mother and my sister.
No, but black could be a thing for me.
I was attracted to his intellect.
Yeah.
He was so intellectual.
He still is.
He still is. I haven't spoken to him in a while.
Before we talk about this dinner with her mom, the reality TV guru reported that on the radio, Andy Cohen said that Dr. Jen is a long-haul housewife and that Noella has fizzled out fast and came in too thirsty. Now, personally, they can get rid of both of them. But I'm going to tell you the truth. If I had to choose between Noella, who is annoying, and Jen, who is quite boring and her husband is too daggone much, I would rather deal with Noella because Noella is at least bringing something. She's at least creating some kind of entertainment. And I'm not having any fun with Jen and her husband. So a shirtless Ryan and his dog just don't do it for me. I'm just saying. So we find out that Noella's father was really not a part of her life. We also find out that clearly she was not raised around other African-American people, and she lets us know that she has never been with an African-American man, which I don't understand why she had to talk about that and why we need to know that. However, she did say that, you know, maybe she will start dating an African-American man. Personally, Noella, to me, it's not about the person being black or white or any other race. It's about the person, period. However, if you're saying that you've never been raised around African-American people, you've never dated an African-American man, I think that you should possibly try to get you some African-American friends. There were 2 African-Americans at Heather's party. You know, you should know who the other half of you is. I think you should get to know your culture. One thing that I noticed is Noella was talking about her dad, and they were talking about him as if he was still around, he was in her life. But when I did a search on him, it turns out that he was a weatherman for a station in LA called KNBC, and that he died of sickle cell back in 2012. It's really crazy to me that she and her mom would talk about him as if he's still alive, and he is not. I don't know. According to the Google, he's not. I guess we'll wait to see what comes out about it, but that's what I've seen so far. Then we see Gina go to the dentist with her children and her ex-husband, and it was nice to see that they can co-parent. They're getting along a lot better now since the domestic violence situation that they had a couple seasons ago. I'm glad to see that they're able to co-parent. Then we finally got some substance from Emily.
17, my other co-defendants were 15. We were all denied counsel, and we were interrogated like adults. Honestly, It happens far too much in black and brown communities. I mean, I spent 15 and a half years in prison for a crime I did not commit.
Now, this excites me. I appreciate that they had this whole segment that they can talk about the differences in our legal system for people of color. I am so for the Innocent Project. This makes me really happy to see Emily getting involved in something like this. She can really do something that changes lives. There are so many innocent people that have been convicted, and I am so happy to see this. This is something that I like about Emily. I appreciate it.
I'd rather just you not come if we were going to have any disrespect, or just be supportive of one another.
Of course, I would never, ever in a million years come to your home and disrespect you. We're big girls. We can be big girls.
Now listen, this phone call I think went well. I appreciate that Jen still had her come. I appreciate that she told her exactly, you know, this is important to me. I don't want any pettiness. I think that she should have probably told her earlier than 10 minutes before the party started. But anyway, I think that last little comment that Noella made about them being big girls was her way of throwing just a little bit of shade. But it's Noella. You know what I mean? She's childish like that. So everyone shows up to the party. Gina invited Matt and Matt's girlfriend, who totally looks like Kelly Dodd, and everybody noticed it, including Gina. We haven't seen Gina in years.
Kelly here, or is there just someone who looks like Kelly here?
She looks so much like Kelly.
This is my ex-husband's girlfriend, Britt.
I just thought that you were Kelly Dodd. I had a moment.
I'm coming for you. No, just kidding.
That looks like Kelly Dodd a little bit.
Doesn't she look like a younger version of Kelly? Now, I don't mean to be rude. I'm not talking bad about Kelly Dodd, even though I'm not a fan. But this girl looks like a younger version of her. Heather shows up with a bucket of chicken. I said, Lord have mercy. Remember back when Jen told her that one time the nanny made fried chicken and she absolutely enjoyed it? Heather showed up with a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I have no idea why she decided that was the time or place for that, but thank you.
She actually freaking called me 10 minutes before I got into the car. And she said, well, I just want you to know that if you come over to my house, you know I work and this is my business and my business is very important to me. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Okay. She's like, well, I just wouldn't want you to come here and like whisper things to people. I guess that's what I'm doing now, but I'm not whispering.
Hey, you're at her house right now. You need to be nice.
You see what I mean? The woman is absolutely childish. So Jen puts on this presentation and that went on and on and on. Honey, everybody was tired. People were yawning. Shane looked like he had fell asleep on Emily's shoulder. It was just way too much. When you have people over for a presentation, 15 minutes tops. People have been drinking. People are trying to eat. No, ma'am. Ryan was an absolute jerk. After this presentation, he says, I'm so proud of you, babe. It could have been shorter, but so be it. What supportive husband says that? The man is a mess. And did anybody notice he was walking around with that dog majority of the time?
Gina thinks that you're jealous of her.
I never said
jealous
that.
of my
never said that.
friendship with Heather.
That I said, yes. That I'm too full of myself to put a pin in it.
Then I said, I said, you know what, Gina?
To put a pin in what?
Yeah.
The fact that I'm in a good place and I'm confident about myself.
There's a difference between confidence and arrogance.
She's right, and I don't have it. And if you think I do, then that's your problem.
Oh, I'm Team Shannon. I really am. Gina is really doing a lot. Shannon is absolutely not jealous of Gina. And it's getting to the point now where it looks like Gina is gaslighting Shannon. I think that Heather's behavior, Emily and Gina, they are making Shannon Storms Bedore the queen of the show. They really are. This is probably the first season, and I don't know how many seasons that I have been Team Shannon all season. Never could I have imagined that. Kelly Dodd Leventhal posted this picture of Gina online. Oh my God. Kelly really knows how to let people have it. I mean, people all over the internet were posting pictures of Gina in this suit, and I don't know what was going on. It did look a little odd. I think that Gina really needs to sit back and think about what she's gone through these last few years. Shannon was there for her when she was going through her DUI, when she was going through her domestic violence, when she was going just through her bitter divorce. Shannon was there for her. And I don't like it how Emily tries to act like she just loves Shannon. When Shannon got to the party, she was like, hey, Shannon, hugging her and everything. And why does Emily always have to point out that Shannon's wearing Spanx? Leave Shannon alone. I don't know. I'm tired of these ladies. Get down in the comments and let me know what you think. And until next time, bye.